Hello everyone and welcome into this KREM 2 Plus live stream. I'm meteorologist Thomas Patrick, and we've had one of our first weather impact alert days issued in nearly 3 months for the inland Northwest. It's been a pleasant springtime up to this point, but now the summer heat is going to be here as of this weekend. And if you are watching us over the weekend, hopefully you're enjoying yourself up to this point, but finding a way to stay cool during this hot stretch of weather. And it's not just going to be 90 degrees for the first time this year, but we're forecasting about 95 degrees and above. Even triple-digit heat is now looking likely for this upcoming Monday, June 9th. We're recording this on June 6th, which is Friday, and the heat has been increasing all week long, and it continues at that pace. But it is looking like Monday is going to be our hottest day of this heat wave upcoming for us here, and that's why that is the day that we pick out for our weather impact alert day. We'll start with the big picture here, and it's a big ridge in the jet stream that is just pushing that bubble of heat right over the Northwest. So that's why our temperatures have been increasing day in after day out this past week, and once the axis of that ridge is directly over the West Coast, that's when we end up getting the hottest weather overall, and even a slight southerly or southwesterly wind usually push those temperatures up by yet another notch. It very well could be record-breaking for the season. If this was the weather pattern that we had in late July or early August, we'd be talking about widespread 100-degree heat. But for the first half of June, that'll push the bracket into mainly the mid-90s, which will eventually be record-high temperatures for at least a few days for Monday and possibly Tuesday as well. So temperatures are going to go about 95 to 102 degrees for most of the inland Northwest. That will be the high temperatures, of course, anywhere above 90 after we hit about the noon hour for that day. The most important thing to do is to stay hydrated and have a way to stay cool, whether it's just inside the comfort of your own home with air conditioning, or if you need to go somewhere to cool off, like one of the many libraries, the public libraries that have plenty good air conditioning to take advantage of when the weather is this hot, especially for the upcoming Monday. So this should be our hottest day so far this season, early in the summer season that it is, at 95 in Spokane. You see 92 on the Palouse, but 102 in Moses Lake. It is Central Washington that will end up the hottest overall, from 100 in Omak, about 100 to 102 in Wenatchee and Chelan, and as warm as 106 degrees in the Tri-Cities. The lower Columbia Basin in southern Washington is always the hottest during these heat waves, so it's a good litmus test to really explain exactly how hot the maximum temperatures can be during a stretch of weather like this. But even 95 degrees would be a record high for Spokane. So on Monday, June 9th, this is our weather impact alert day. At 95, that should break the record of 93. We're already forecasting 2 degrees above the record. Funny enough, on Tuesday, this will also be a record high at 93. The record, weirdly enough, is only 90 for that day. Seems a little low, and it is lower compared to some of the other days around it. So just think of it as like putting the hurdle a little bit lower, easier to jump over that. So that's 2 days in a row of forecasting above the record highs. That's why at that level, it's worthy of that weather impact alert day, even though 95 in the summertime certainly is common enough for us, but it's also the first time that we're going to be at this level. So it might feel a little bit like a shock to the system. So when we talk about these alert days, of course, we want to give you that heads up, make sure you're well prepared, offer some very simple tips. A lot of you will probably just do this anyways without even thinking about it, but it is worth just reiterating. When it comes to heat safety, it's like 3 different criteria. Make sure you're keeping yourself safe, others safe, and your pets safe as well. It starts by drinking plenty of water, staying hydrated and taking breaks with air conditioning, and making sure that your body internal temperature can stay cool. For others, make sure to just check on your friends, your family members, young kids, or elderly grandparents. Make sure their AC is working as well and they're not left in an uncomfortable environment. And never, ever leave kids in the car. You always hear about putting your phone in the back seat to make sure that you check the back seat before you run inside, whether it's even the grocery store or a shopping market. It's not like, don't even leave kids in there for a couple minutes, because the temperatures inside a car can rise so fast. That is very, very dangerous. And for pets, they need to stay hydrated too, so make sure they have plenty of water to drink. And don't walk on pavement, especially the asphalt and the blacktop in the middle of the day with the sun shining directly on the pavement. A good test for that is if you can't hold your hand down on the ground for more than 10 seconds, it's too hot for your pet's paws as well. So that's the way to test that. So again, heat safety for yourself, for others, and for your pets during this hot stretch of weather. Good example is, again, we talk about the danger of leaving kids in cars. The internal temperature of those cars can rise so fast. So let's use the example of when it's just 90 degrees outside, not even just 95. And after 10 minutes, gets up to 110 on the inside of the car, and it just keeps climbing and climbing and climbing. Can be as hot as 130 plus degrees after an hour. And that is why it is so dangerous. So again, never leave kids or pets for that matter in your car. I did this example actually a couple of years ago, back in 2019 when we were in July and had a very hot stretch of weather. It was nearly 100 degrees on that day. So here was the science experiment. In this case, it was 98 degrees outside. This is my car, and I stuck the thermometer inside it, and after an hour, the thermometer was off the scale and over 140 degrees on the inside after an hour. By the way, the pavement temperature, 133, and I drive a black car, and the actual surface of the car was reading over 170 degrees parked in the direct sunlight. So again, the main example of why it is so dangerous, especially inside a car after not just an hour, but even just a few minutes. So keep that in mind. That was when the temperatures are ranging between 90 and 100 degrees. That's basically where we're going to be once we get to early next week. For the weekend ahead, on Saturday, a beautiful summer day, upper 80s with mostly sunny skies, and on Sunday, 93 degrees. That will be our first 90-degree day of the year. If you love the summer season, it is great to get outside and enjoy safely, of course. Make sure you have your life jackets if you are hitting the waters. The water's still a little cool, but getting better, especially when it gets this much hotter outside with that summer season. And we'll once again show you those temperatures on Monday, up to 95 degrees, hopefully not too uncomfortable for those that have to be outside for a long period of time. And of course, make sure to wear your sunscreen to go along with it as well. But our hottest locations in the inland Northwest, usually Moses Lake, Omak, and Lewiston, all at 100 degrees and above. So there will certainly be triple-digit heat for the inland Northwest. So this is our first true heat wave of the season. For Spokane, I have 90-degree heat for Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday, with Monday and Tuesday both being record high temperatures, and of course Monday standing out as the hottest in the middle of that time frame. So that's why we have our weather impact alert day for this upcoming Monday here, with temperatures that will be soaring upwards of 95 degrees. So make sure to stay safe in this early summer heat.